Hello Year 3. Today we're going to find out about different types of skeletons. The date is Tuesday the 16th of March and our learning objective is to sort animals based on their skeletons. You will need your purple book and you will need to copy the date and learning objective at the top of a page. So pause the video now and copy the date and learning objective. Today we will learn the names of 3 different types of skeletons and then you'll know which animal has which type of skeleton. What do you associate with the word skeleton? What does it remind you of? What does it make you think of? Maybe it makes you think of Halloween and scary skeletons hanging up. Maybe it makes you think of dinosaur skeletons that you might have seen in a museum or that have been dug up. What does it make you think of? Well, today we're going to learn about vertebrates and invertebrates. These are animals who have a skeleton and animals who don't. The difference between vertebrates and invertebrates is very simple once you know. You can see that vertebrates have a backbone or a spine, and they have other bones as well sometimes, but vertebrates always have a backbone. Invertebrates do not. They don't have any bones. No skeletons at all. So what's holding them up? Well, that's what we're going to find out today. But you need to remember that vertebrates have a backbone and invertebrates don't. Now we're going to see if you can categorise some animals as vertebrates or invertebrates. You're going to look at some pictures and think about those animals. Think about, do they have a bone? Do they have a skeleton and a backbone, just like human beings, or do they not? Inside this moth, there are no bones. It's got its wings and its body, but no bones. So let's try a quiz. If you're not sure, you can guess. It's just some fun. A dog. Does a dog have a backbone? Does it have bones just like humans do? What do you think? If you guessed it was a vertebrate, you are right. It does have a backbone. A worm. Does a worm have a backbone? Does it have a spine? Is it a vertebrate with a spine or an invertebrate without a spine? What do you think? If you guessed it was an invertebrate, well done. It does not have a spine. It does not have any bones at all. A dinosaur. Is the dinosaur a vertebrate? Does it have a spine? Or is it an invertebrate without a spine? If you guessed vertebrate, then you are right. I was thinking about the dinosaur bones in the museum. Of course they have bones. A human. Does a human have a spine or a backbone? Or do they not have a spine or a backbone? What do you think? If you guessed vertebrate, you're right. Humans do have a backbone and a spine. A fish. Does a fish have a backbone? Is it a vertebrate? Or does it have no backbone? I'm called an invertebrate. If you guessed vertebrate, you're right, it does. Fish do have bones. A jellyfish. Do you think a jellyfish has a backbone and a spine, or is it an invertebrate without a backbone or a spine? If you guessed invertebrate, you're right. There's no bones in a jellyfish. A butterfly. This is a bit like the moth at the beginning. Can you remember what the moth was? Vertebrate with a backbone. Invertebrate, no backbone. What do you think? If you guessed invertebrate, you are right. The moth and the butterfly are both invertebrates. So now we've found out about 2 types of skeletons, the vertebrate skeleton and the invertebrate skeleton. But invertebrates can also be split into two different groups. The further classification of skeletons comes from if an animal has a skeleton and where it is. All vertebrates have an endoskeleton. There are vertebrates, they all have an endoskeleton. This means a skeleton on the inside. However, invertebrates who don't have a skeleton can be divided again between those with an exoskeleton, a skeleton on the outside of their body, and those with a hydrostatic skeleton, which isn't really a skeleton at all, which is more of a fluid-filled sort of skin. So, vertebrates always have an endoskeleton. Invertebrates either have an exoskeleton, a hard outside, or a hydrostatic skeleton, which is a sort of soft outside. Now some more details about different types of skeletons. Animals with endoskeletons have skeletons on the inside of their bodies. You can't see them, they're underneath the skin and muscles. Endoskeletons are lighter than exoskeletons. So skeletons on the outside, that layer of hard skeleton on the outside is heavier than having the skeleton inside. As the animal grows, so does their skeleton. Yep, you can get bigger and bigger and your bones will grow with you. Now exoskeletons. Here are some examples of animals with exoskeletons. A crab, a beetle, a spider and a scorpion. They have soft insides, but their outside layer is hard, like a shell almost. Animals with exoskeletons have their skeletons on the outside. Exoskeletons do not grow with the animal, therefore the animal has to shed its skeleton and produce a new one. Inside it's soft and it shakes off the old hard cover, and inside it grows slightly bigger, and then the outside of it hardens into its new exoskeleton. There is a clip on the Dojo Tasker activity that will show you how a crab sheds its skeleton. There's some more links on there you can click for further research. Hydrostatic skeletons. Now these are the squishy kinds of animals. They don't have a skeleton on the inside or on the outside. They don't actually have any bones. Instead, these animals have a flexible skin, a bit like the outside of a balloon, that makes a fluid-filled compartment called a coelom, even though it looks like colon, for their body. It's a bit like when you fill a water balloon with water. The outside skin of the water balloon is holding it in, just like these animals have a flexible outside skin, making this compartment for their body to be inside. All animals with hydrostatic skeletons are called invertebrates. They don't have any backbone or any spine. So, the different skeleton types you need to remember are endoskeleton, exoskeleton, and hydrostatic skeleton. Have a think. Do you know any other examples of creatures with these types of skeletons? You'll need those. Keep those in mind. You'll need them for the task today. Here is your task. You need to draw this into your book. Underneath your data and learning objective, you need to draw a small table with 3 parts. Use the ruler you've got in your pack to make it nice and neat. And copy the titles at the top of each section. Pause the video so that you've got time to do it and make it look neat. Now, sort these animals into different categories. You can draw or write their names, but you have to choose which category they go into. Endoskeleton means the skeleton's on the inside. The exoskeleton means they've got a hard shell around the outside, or a hydrostatic skeleton means the animal has no bones and no hard shell around the outside. Have a go. Draw them or write them into one of those 3 boxes and see how you get on. There is one animal that's a little bit tricky, and you might find you have to put it in between 2 boxes. But see how you get on. Looking forward to seeing your answers for this one. If you think of any other animals you want to add in, you can add those too. Now, the pros and cons of different skeletons types. Now that you've completed your other activity, we can move on with this. You can write this into your book, or you can have a think about it and talk to your adult if you'd like to. So the type of skeleton and the pros and cons. What makes it good for that animal and what might make it bad? There's 3 different ways of having a skeleton. So an endoskeleton, what would be good and bad about it? An exoskeleton, what would be good or bad? And a hydrostatic skeleton, what would be good or bad? It grows with the body, more protection for the body, does not grow with the body is more flexible, cannot lift objects, or the muscles are less flexible. Now there's 6 things here and they will fit into those 6 boxes. You can pause the video and have a think about it or talk about it and move on when you're ready. How did you do? So an endoskeleton is great because it grows with the body. But the muscles are less flexible because your muscles can only move in the same place as your bones. The exoskeleton it provides more protection for the body, but it does not grow with the body. So it has to be shed if the body needs to grow. And the hydrostatic skeleton, it's good because the body is more flexible. But unfortunately, they can't lift objects because their body has no strength to it. How did you do? I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Looking forward to seeing your responses.